myself, and I saw those winged helmets come out of the tunnel, and I was hooked at that point.
Kane in Chicago! Oh my God!
Kane with the overtime winner! Jameer Gibbs to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. You can't cover that man one-on-one. You just can't do it.
He drives, lobs to JD for a jam.
You play real good, you start. You don't play as good, you work your way back in. It's the American way, except America has gotten soft. But that is the American way. That's the way it works.
This is the 6'6" Kane Cunningham.
Jameson Williams, he's got it. Touchdown, Lions.
Going to keep it out. Okay, that's good to know. All right, I just want to make sure. I thought yesterday was the day where we take out the Dylan Larkin goal for Team USA, but did it strictly for a Monday. Instead, you're doing it on a telling.
I mean, we could
as well. I like that. No, that's good. It's good stuff.
We could ask the poll question about it or something. We could say, do you want the Dylan Larkin bit still in there, or do you not want the Dylan Larkin bit still in there? I think I know the answer though.
I think the answer might be I don't care.
Yeah,
when it
seriously.
comes to our open. Welcome everybody on this Tullymore Tuesday. Glad you're with us on X's and Bros. He's Andy McDonald. I'm Matt Shepard. There are a lot of different ways you can get involved in our program. You can comment in the chat, as a lot of people do, as we stream live on YouTube, on Facebook, and on X. You can text us, Sports Radio 21,000, or you can call us on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. Really good stuff overnight in a lot of different ways. From a sports conversation standpoint, may not be good for Michigan fans, Michigan basketball fans, but it's good conversation. Dusty May is leaving Michigan for the NBA. He's going to sign a contract with the Mavericks that will pay him $6 million a year. Mike Boynton will serve as interim head coach. Do you think he's the type of coach who can buck a trend? The trend in the NBA, or from college to the NBA, John Beilein, who's on with the Huge Show every week, and we'll play a little bit of that conversation from the Huge Show yesterday, was 14-40. Fred Hoiberg, 115 and 155. Reggie Theus, 44-62. Mike Montgomery, 68 and 96. John Calipari, 72 and 112. Rick Pitino, 192 and 220 with the Celtics and Knicks. Lon Kruger with Atlanta, 69 and 122. Here are the two outliers. You ready? Billy Donovan, OKC in Chicago. He had a winning record. All right. He was 59 games over 500. And, of course, Brad Stevens. Butler to the Boston Celtics, 354 and 282. What about Dusty May in Dallas? What do we think there? You see, I think with Dusty May, the way he seems to coach, I've never been in the room with him, okay? I haven't been behind the scenes with him breaking down film and asking certain things from his players. But the way he coaches on the floor and the way he gives room to his assistants bodes well in the NBA. I think John Beilein is one of the best coaches I've ever been around. And I mean that sincerely. He was a phenomenal basketball coach. But I knew it was never going to work in the NBA. And the reason I knew that is because John Beilein is a tactician. He is 100% into basketball the entire season. And what he does is watch more film than anybody I've ever seen. It's constant. He is the definition of a film hog. And he has so much to tell. And his mind works so well and so in depth that it's almost impossible to match. And for him to try and get that across to his players, he wants to use example after example after example. And the NBA doesn't work that way. So when John Beilein is watching on the flight back from wherever his team was playing, And he's breaking down all these plays. He's not going to do things differently. It's the reason he has become so successful. What did he do? He broke down all these practices and games. He break down practices where here's 10 good plays, here's 10 bad plays. Here's 20 good plays, here's 20 bad plays. And then the same thing in a game. Even if it's a win. Here's the bad plays, here's the good plays. Here's how we fix the bad plays. Here's how we enhance the good plays. It was incredibly detailed. NBA players cannot do that, will not do that, do not want that. They want quick, simple, and get the hell out of there. Rarely do you find NBA players who want to watch as much film as a guy like John Beilein. I don't know if Dusty May is like that. But his demeanor seems to be much more conducive to the NBA than a John Calipari, a Rick Pitino, a Lon Kruger, and the like. So can he be successful? I think he can. Will he be successful? Well, I mean, he better have a long leash in Dallas, even though he's got a hell of a player in Cooper Flagg. How much better can they get? We'll soon find out. We're going to talk with Anthony Broome from On3 and SB Nation at 8:35 about this. Tigers beat up Garrett Cole and the Yankees, and they win at 5-3. Framber Valdez was really good. Gave up a run early on, settled down, claimed his fourth win. He tossed 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, struck out 8, had some control issues early on. But overall, you'll take that.
No,
Kevin
McGonigal,
McGonigal, what's that? You'll definitely
take it. I think the control issues is the thing that's been kind of the problem. It seems like he's had a lot of long counts against people, which just kind of kept him out of those late innings like he was getting last year, it feels like. But, I mean, you'll take what you got last night against the Yankees, that's for sure.
Yeah, a couple of walks, a couple of misfires, I would say. Here's it's nitpicky. He needed 94 pitches to get through 6.
Yep, that's the thing. I feel like that's been the thing for him.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a concern. Then Drew Anderson came in, Summers and Vest. I know what people were saying when Vest was brought in. Why you bring him in the 8th?
Oh, yeah.
And all he needed was 3 pitches to get out of the 8th. And then get the 9th and pick up his, second save, I believe? Anyway, 5-3 the final. Detroit has now won 4 in a row. Kevin McGonigal, by the way, drove in 2. Riley Green smashed his 9th homer of the year. So Detroit's won 4 in a row. New York's dropped 3 straight. Game 2 of the series, Casey Mize against Carlos Rodon tonight. The latest All-Star voting has Dylan Dingler 3rd among catchers, Kevin McGonigal 3rd among shortstops, Riley Green 9th among outfielders. That is something we will discuss coming up. Oklahoma beats North Carolina 13-2 to win their 3rd national title, 7th in a row by the SEC. Here's the weird thing about that. I know a lot of people don't get into college baseball. That's fine. I don't expect you to. I'm not going to do a segment on this. But I just want you to know something. OU finished 11th in the SEC. They were 14-16 in conference. Okay? They trailed number 2 Georgia Tech 8-2 when they were on the brink of elimination. Since that time, they outscored Georgia Tech 21-7. So they beat them. It's best 2 out of 3. Beat them twice. They swept the Big 12 champion Kansas Jayhawks 21-3. They beat top 8 seeds throughout Omaha. As soon as they got to Omaha, all the top 8 seeds, they had to play, and they beat them. They ended up winning 10 of their last 11 games. That is a freakish way to win a national championship. Miami makes a big splash in the NBA. Latest class into the Hockey Hall of Fame and a whole lot more. It's coming up here on X's and Bros. We're glad you're with us to start an early Tullymore Tuesday brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
Huge here for all the ABC warehouse locations in Michigan. Now, if you're looking for the best prices on TVs, furniture, appliances, mattresses, and more, you need to go to abcwarehouse.com. You can shop there and also shop in person at all ABC warehouse locations across Michigan. For the one close to you, go to abcwarehouse.com. Best deals on TVs, appliances, furniture, and mattresses at all ABC Warehouse locations in Michigan.
You know, we're fortunate here in Michigan. We have some of the greatest golf courses in the country. Tullymore and St. Ives is part of the reason we can brag the way we do about our golf. Once you visit Tullymore, you'll keep coming back. The view is breathtaking. The golf is fantastic. The accommodations are regal, and the people are special. It really does feel like a home away from home at Tullymore. Make your play and stay reservations today by going to tullymoregolf.com or by calling 1-800-972-4837. That's 1-800-972-4837.
Celebrate the soul of folk and Americana. The Lumineers Automatic World Tour comes to Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort Sunday night, July 19th, with special guest Josiah and the Bonnevilles, part of the Soaring Eagle Outdoor Summer Concert Series. Tickets start at $67 and are on sale now at the box office or online at etix.com. Showtime 8 p.m. See the Lumineers live with Josiah and the Bonnevilles, July 19th at Soaring Eagle Casino, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Make your Father's Day celebration a good deal better with Meijer. Surprise Dad with gear from his favorite teams. Select licensed sports apparel is buy one, get one free. Plus, select shoes are buy one, get one for just $1. Fire up the grill and treat Dad to classic summer flavors like select fresh from Meijer pork loin chops for $1.99 a pound and chicken drumstick family packs for 99 cents a pound. Good life quality at real low prices. Only at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
I think, everybody, no matter what your experience level is, whether it's a first-time guy like Drew Summers or how you lead, or any of these debuts we're seeing, all the way to a veteran guy signing to a sizable contract to a team that has won the last couple of seasons. He wants to do that. Like he wants to be part of it. And so I don't know if that was anything that bothered him on the front end of the season, but he is obviously more comfortable and his routines are getting better. And he's starting to lock in why things are going well or why things aren't going well. And he's got to continue to trust himself.
When do you start? That's AJ Hinch following his team's 5-3 win over the Yankees last night. When do you start believe again? Let's face it. Going into the season, everybody believed. When you say to just an avid baseball fan or even a casual baseball fan that my starting rotation is Tarek Skubal and Casey Mize and Framber Valdez and Jack Flaherty and Justin Verlander, you feel pretty good. When you tell them, you've re-signed a guy like Gleyber Torres, and even though it's too much money, and I wouldn't have done it, but he accepted the amount of money that was there on the table. And you're bringing up your number one prospect. Most people are going to feel pretty good in that division. But then you start to struggle the way this team did struggle, including Valdez, although he was really good last night, really good. You lost hope. I mean, at one point, everybody, they're 11 and a half games back. They were 16 games under 500 at the end of May. May 31st, they were 16 games under 500. Now they're 10 games under 500. They've won 4 in a row. A win tonight guarantees them winning another series. We all know that's what has to happen. We've said this ad nauseum over the years. I don't care about winning streaks as much as I care about series winning streaks. If you win 2 out of 3, you're in good shape. Think about it. You win 2 out of 3 every single series in a season. What's your winning percentage? It's massive, right? You're talking about 67%, something like that. So it's just not possible. But that's what I look at. I don't look at, oh my God, they've reeled off 7 straight wins. If you win 7 straight series, I'm pretty happy. And every team would be. And every fan base should be. But right now, this team is still 10 games under 500. It's getting better. It's great. Okay, you got some guys hitting the ball a little bit better than you originally thought.
I mean, they have the best record
6.5
in June.
6.5. You have 6.5 games back in the division because Chicago's winner over Cleveland last night. So 6.5 back. They have 12 wins in the month of June, which is double the amount of wins they had in the month of May. So when do you start believing again?
It's 6.5 back when you're 10 games under 500. Something just doesn't seem right about that. But if it's there, it's there. Yeah. I guess you can't. So you can't deny what the numbers are.
No, but what does it take? What will it take for you to believe? And I'm not talking about just believing that you can win the division. This division is so wide open. As I said yesterday, and I'll repeat it today, every single team in the division is under in terms of run scoring differential. They're a minus. Okay. That's embarrassing. But anyway, who cares? If you win the division, it doesn't matter. I'm talking about a playoff threat. Before the season began, you thought this team was a playoff threat, as in a chance to go deep into the postseason. Remember what we said. You've got a rotation where you're going to have Skubal and Mize and Valdez. You feel pretty damn good about your chances.
Absolutely. I mean,
against any team.
Still would feel good about that if it worked out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would just remind you, Seattle would feel pretty damn good with their starting rotation. New York would feel good about their starting rotation. Okay. Cleveland would feel pretty good about their starting rotation. But anyway, yes, you should feel good with those arms. It's funny how we say this. Well, absolutely would feel good. And yet Valdez has been a huge disappointment. See, don't look at it like it's Valdez of the guy you originally got. Look at it as the guy you're witnessing right now. His ERA is still 4, Andy.
Yeah, it's kind of
okay.
Definitely not been what you expected when you got it.
Yeah, he's got 4 wins. Now I say that. Understand this. New York could feel pretty good with Garrett Cole, excuse me, and then Carlos Rodon backing him up. Garrett Cole's got a 3.5 ERA. Garrett Cole's only got 2 wins. So you can play both sides of the fence with that when it comes to the teams that I just mentioned who would feel good about their starting rotation. So you need to be we need to be careful. I need to be careful when I bring that stuff up. But we do need to understand something here. That while we get caught up in our teams, and for good reason, and I would rather have Skubal and Valdez instead of, Nick Martinez and Drew Rasmussen for Tampa, for crying out loud. Although Shea McClanahan, I wouldn't mind at all. But you understand where we're going with this. Okay. What does it take? For me, you get to within 5 games of 500 then before the All-Star break. Then I start to think differently. 10 games under 500 right now, but just 6.5 games back, is not a big deal in terms of the division. I'm talking about a serious player when it comes to postseason play.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think at this point, for me to really believe, throughout the rest of the season that they would be there at the end of the year where they would compete in the playoffs, because of how bad May was, you have to understand what their record is. But it feels like they would pretty much have to play, winning baseball in every month the rest of the way for me to really believe that they're and more than just one game over 500. They'd have to be, 4 to 5 at least games over 500 in every month going forward. If I was going to believe that they were actually going to be a team that could compete in the postseason. The problem is you have to know before that because of the trade deadline, because you would probably want them to add if you did think they were a suitor to win instead of sell, right? I mean, add players if you thought that they were going to win the division.
Add what though?
I would want them to add something on offense, probably.
So, but can you be specific?
I guess I don't know what player yet. I haven't really thought about it in a for sure instance.
Because every team, there's no perfect team out there, obviously.
No.
Dodgers might be the closest. What are you going to add? Because the Yankees will want to add.
No, 100%.
Tampa might want to add.
The reality
Seattle will want to add. Other teams added a year ago with impactful players, including Seattle. Did Detroit add with an impactful player?
No, absolutely not.
So they added, but they didn't add the right player. They didn't add the right area. That's my concern. It's easy for you and I to go, I want to see them add. Well, no kidding. What do you want to see them add?
I haven't really thought about what player yet, because the reality is right now, I still think they would be selling before they'd be buying because of where their record's at and where they're at in the division. I mean, unless they keep this up for a while, it's not even a realistic possibility. I don't think that they would buy yet. But
yeah, I think it is a possibility because they look at the division.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
They see that Chicago in all likelihood is not going to add. And Cleveland rarely does. Okay, whether you like it or not. Minnesota, who got Byron Buxton's 25th homer last night, most by a twin before the All-Star break, or by the end of June, I think is what I read. And just the second player to ever have that many before the end of June. The other was Harmon Killebrew, who had that many before the end of June 5 times. But when I say be specific, I'm not looking for a name. I'm looking for a position and or trait. The right-handed power bat is really what you should be saying, because that's what is needed. Could they use another arm in the bullpen? Sure. You can add more than one player, but those two are acceptable. All right. Those two traits are acceptable. Right-handed power and bullpen arm. Okay.
Yeah, they've needed the right-handed power back. I mean, you're getting what you're getting from Dylan Dingler right now, but it feels like you need something more than that. And
yeah, because the postseason, look, if we're going to agree the postseason is different when it comes to the NBA, the postseason is different when it comes to Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
They might be pitching Dylan Dingler much differently. And I'm not going to rely on just one right-handed power bat to get me through the postseason. So that's the reason I bring that up. I know we got to take a quick time out. We're back with more here on X's and Bros. Looking forward to the conversation all morning long on a Tully Moore Tuesday, brought to you by Michelin's Well.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Rod Stewart returns to Soaring Eagle Thursday, September 3rd. The Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series with special guest Richard Marks. Tickets start at $71 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com. One last time, Rod Stewart with Richard Marks, September 3rd. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Our state is Mecca for golf, and one of Michigan's crown jewels is Tullymore and St. Ives, two world-class championship courses in one charming and beautiful location. The golf is challenging but fair. You're going to use every club in your bag. But let me tell you what makes Tullymore really special. It's the people. From the wait staff to the bartenders to the pro shop and the management, their sole purpose is to give you a memorable experience, and they do. Go to TullymoreGolf.com today and experience a Michigan masterpiece.
Huge here for all the ABC warehouse locations in Michigan. Now, if you're looking for the best prices on TVs, furniture, appliances, mattresses, and more, you need to go to abcwarehouse.com. You can shop there and also shop in person at all ABC warehouse locations across Michigan. For the one close to you, go to abcwarehouse.com. Best deals on TVs, appliances, furniture, and mattresses at all ABC warehouse locations in Michigan.
That makes so much sense. It really does. I was in the car on the Yeah, I was in the car on the way with my good friend, ex-Michigan student-athlete Paul Hireman, going to golf at Crystal Downs, and all of a sudden, another friend of mine called, Dusty May going to Dallas. I said, no. He called me this weekend, but I don't think he's going. I don't know anything about that. And then Paul got it on his ESPN thing. So we were a little bit, in the dark too on this one, and it's a bit shocking. And I'm sure I'll talk with Dusty the next couple days, and I'm sure he's got some reasons. So, but just shocking based on the momentum we had going at Michigan and all those great things.
John Beeline on the Huge Show yesterday, part of a podcast for sure that was sent out by the Huge Show. So make sure you follow them. Welcome back, X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. It's a Tullymore Tuesday, and we're brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth. Surprise John Beeline, who was instrumental in getting Dusty May to Michigan.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like that response of him just saying he was completely caught in the dark like that, like thinking he just talked to him, and I was just stunned to hear that.
Yeah, tells you something. Why did he leave? So we'll get into that. Good stuff. First of all, John Beeline playing Crystal Downs, good for him.
Right.
Not an easy course to get onto. Not bad at all. He's living a pretty good life in northern Michigan. Did I ever tell you the story about John Beeline in northern Michigan and me?
No, I don't think so.
All right, real quick. I'm calling Michigan basketball. I first meet him. We have a good conversation. We start talking about different things. Of course, Michiganders are always saying, if there's anything you ever need, one of the things I recommended to him, I said, you're going to love this state. I would strongly recommend you take a trip up north when you can. Basically, his response is, listen, I've got to, a lot of things I got to take care of first. Fast forward roughly 3-4 years, I think, walking in to do a TV show with him. And he said, hey, by the way, Matt, I went up north. Remember how you recommended it? I said, yeah. Oh, that's great. Where did you go? He started talking about it. I said, how much did you love it? He said, loved it so much I bought a house. In fact, he bought a house from a former football teammate of mine from high school, which is ironic. So that's where he's at now. So he's got a house, he's got a couple of boats, and he just absolutely loves northern Michigan. How can you not love northern Michigan? You have to love
Oh, no, man, for sure.
Especially up where we're broadcasting with the WMBN 104.7, the ticket northern Michigan. Right. So good stuff. In case people missed it, I doubt you did. If you're following sports, the Miami Heat acquire Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis from Milwaukee. The Bucks in return get 4 players, including Tyler Hero, 3 first-round picks and a second-rounder. Immediately, the thought is, well, that's a bummer because the Pistons, I was hoping that Tyler Hero would come to the Pistons. Milwaukee can still turn around and trade the 26-year-old who's got 1 year left on his contract.
Yeah, definitely isn't. I wouldn't say he's like for
ago.
Sure set there
so
yet.
You could absolutely do that. I mean, if they wanted to, they could still get a guy like Isaiah Stewart and Ron Holland, or they could get a guy like Karis LeVert, Isaiah Stewart, and a first-round pick. So that can still happen because I don't think the deal is finalized until July 6th. Latest class to be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame includes Keith Tkachuk, Patrice Bergeron, Carey Price, Peke Rinne. So I have to, without trying to be too much of a homer here, it's extremely frustrating for me because I think the Wings are underserved here. We'll get to that coming up here on X's and Bros. I'll tell you what I mean. Here's the Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question. It might be the most difficult poll question we've ever had. And I mean that sincerely.
Yeah.
Which Detroit athlete? Yeah, it's just a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah. I when I read it, I was like, oh, yeah, I got a couple I could think about on that one.
Right. Which Detroit athlete is more deserving of a Hall of Fame bid? Lou Whitaker, Henrik Zetterberg, Chris Osgood, or Herman Moore? Vote as often as you want at XB Mornings. It's been tweeted out. I've retweeted it, and we'll give you the results tomorrow in the 8 o'clock hour. You said you had a couple of names on that. Who are a couple of the names that we may have missed?
I think, well, no. I just think of the options. Like I was
I got you.
Putting them through my head of which ones I think would be the ones you could decide on. And you could almost, you can make an argument for any of them, I feel like.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I could have put Lance Parrish in there.
Yeah.
I could have put Mickey Lolich in there. I could have put Bill Freehan in there. I can't think of many other Red Wings who are deserving but aren't in there other than the two I put on there. I think it's we don't have to get into it right now. I think it's downright sacrilegious that Pekka Rinne's in there before Chris Osgood.
Yeah, Chris Osgood was my top one. I was thinking about on there too. I think it's crazy.
Anyway, I'm not trying to convince people on how to vote. I want you to vote as often as you want. Okay. By the way, the Giannis Antetokounmpo to Miami, should we have seen this coming? And the reason I ask that question is because look at the history of what Pat Riley has done while in charge of the Miami Heat. You talk about a Hall of Fame coach and a Hall of Fame front office member. It's Pat Riley. Truly one of the great. Look, Jerry West did the same thing. Jerry West went into the Hall of Fame as a player and as a front office member as well. Pat Riley, same thing. He has acquired big names and or call them superstars if you want. Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway, Shaquille O'Neal, Chris Bosh, LeBron James, Jimmy Butler, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That's an impressive roster you're putting together right there.
That's a really impressive get, don't you think?
Yeah,
you're talking 100%. About a wheelbarrow full.
It's a good point.
Big time players.
I didn't really think about that, like how you acquired all those people.
Yeah, that's not who he drafted. I might add.
Yeah, right.
Those are the players he acquired. Again, Alonzo Mourning, hell of a player. Tim Hardaway, awesome player. Shaquille O'Neal. Do I need to say any more? Chris Bosh. Remember, Bosh was in Toronto. He was drafted by Toronto. LeBron James, of course. That is more because LeBron James wanted to play with two of his buddies, but still. And then Jimmy Butler. So, and now Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't know what it's going to bring Miami. They've had unbelievable success with everybody else. Didn't win a championship with all of them, but he had unbelievable success with everybody else. Who's going to doubt him, for crying out loud? I'm not. Via text. Let's see here. Okay. Shep, last thing you want this team to do is get better because then you will end up getting nothing for Tarek Skubal. Oh, he's talking about the Tigers. Don't want them to get better. I do want them to get better. I do want them to look. I'll keep reading the text. I'm not done with it yet, but let me ask you this real quick. Which team in the American League scares the hell out of you? I'm not saying the Tigers do. If I'm a fan of the Yankees or I'm a fan of the Rays or I'm a fan of the Seattle Mariners, hell, even the Athletics, I suppose. And before you snicker at the Athletics, they're 2 games under 500. Your team's 10. And your team plays in a much weaker division. So just be careful there. All I'm saying is there's nobody, and I mean nobody, in the American League that scares the hell out of you. Perhaps New York when they get healthy. But seriously, does Cleveland, and Cleveland has owned the Tigers this year. I understand that. This is not a knock on the Guardians at all because I respect them greatly. To have a payroll like that, to really have just one superstar who's injured, by the way, okay? I don't know. I'm not tuned into Cleveland radio, but how much are they using that as an excuse? Maybe not. We sure used it as an excuse for us. But there's not many teams knocking on the door. I got to have Brian Rocchio, okay? Stephen Kwan's a nice player, but you know what he's hitting right now, Andy? As good a player as he's been. What do you need him to do? And he starts every game. You need him to get on base, and you need him to hit because he's not going to hit for power. He's hitting 206. And yet Cleveland is still getting it done. Chase DeLauder, good-looking rookie, up and down year, okay? Which you would expect from a rookie. So I have great respect for him. But do they scare you? I mean, be honest here.
No.
Okay.
I would not say so.
No, of course not. They don't scare you. So if that's the case, and you and I both believe that, and you've got guys, I think New York is probably the strongest. Remember, they've got guys who are on that injured list, led by Aaron Judge. How many teams are scaring the hell out of you? So why wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Right. So why wouldn't you do this? Now, people in Seattle could say, look, we're leading our division, and arguably our best player is having one of his worst seasons. And you understand that a year ago, your catcher, Cal Raleigh, was in the MVP conversation. This year, he's not hitting for average, and he's not hitting for power. He's got 7 homers this year, and he's batting about 160. Anyway, the text continues. Harris will not add. He has proven that a Tiger doesn't change their stripes. He has added. He just hasn't added the right people. Right? I'm not giving him grace here. I'm not giving him a free pass. He has added, though. I didn't like what he added, but he has added. This team needs to be thinking one thing: trading upcoming free agents, Mize, Tarek Skubal, and guys who may be getting big money soon, Riley Green. And if they don't, they still lose this year, even if they make the playoffs and don't let themselves set up for a possible better future. Don't think you're the Detroit Lions as the 1 seed, resting a week, waiting on the lowest seed to play. Well, I would say this. Remember what Dylan Larkin said a couple of years ago about Steve Yzerman not adding at the trade deadline. If you trade those players that you're referring to, okay, you trade Tarek Skubal and you trade Casey Mize. And look, I've been on record saying trade Tarek Skubal for a long time. I think a lot depends on what you get. Okay. I don't want what's equivalent to what the Ottawa Senators got for Brady Tkachuk. Like, I saw people online saying, this is great news for the Red Wings. Look at what you can get for Brady Tkachuk. Dylan Larkin's better. He plays more 200 feet. He's equivalent in numbers. You're going to get at least this. I don't want that.
Amen to that.
Okay.
Amen,
I don't want that. The people who feel like, oh my God, we're going to get all these draft picks. You have no idea. No idea, especially with hockey, what the draft picks are going to be.
And by the way,
it's the same thing in baseball. If they Tarek Skubal, if I can get 5 picks, really, what are those picks? Where are they going to be? And are you going to be drafting a high schooler? Okay.
I mean, Steve Yzerman hasn't gotten like the top pick in any of these drafts, but the ones he has gotten, we've heard so much about a lot of them for years. Where are they up here making a huge difference? No, they're not. So
no, they're not.
You want to go down that road again? That's where you want to be? Oh my goodness.
You want the equivalent of Nate Danielson.
It drives me nuts.
Who is supposedly a good player? Is he a franchise changing player? No, he's not. Otherwise, he'd be up by now. So I get tired of this whole the draft pick stuff. I want players. I want proven guys. Ideally, you want proven guys who are 25, 26 years old, like Tyler Hero. I'll take Tyler Hero over I'll take a top 10 NBA draft pick right now. Because I don't know what they're going to be. At some point, somebody thought Anthony Bennett was going to be really good. Somebody thought Michael Olowokandi was going to be an outstanding player. A guy who knows more basketball than I'll ever know drafted Darko Milicic. So I want the proven guy. You can criticize that all you want, but I want that proven guy instead of the draft picks. So you can trade Tarek Skubal. Depends on what you're getting back for him. You can trade Casey Mize. I want to, at some point though, and this is from our friend Freddie, at some point, you got to have a player you're going to build around. Why would you want to keep a guy like Riley Green? You're going to have to pay guys money. I mean, that's business. Why would you not want to keep Riley Green? Depends on his price tag. Fair enough. But I want him in left field. He's a good left fielder. He's hitting for power, hits for average. He's not fast. So what? He drives and runs. I would want to build around him. Like I'd want to build around Dylan Dingler and want to build around Kevin McGonigal, who took that Garrett Cole pitch to left field for a triple. Thing of beauty. What a great swing. Love what he brings to the table. Why he's playing third base, I have no idea. He's up for an all-star at shortstop. but he's playing third base last night because you got to have Zach McKinstry at shortstop. I don't get it. Anyway, I don't, if you think you have to have a plan with Casey Mize, are you going to re-sign him? Do you want to re-sign him? Are you worried about his injuries? Are you worried about his health? I can't think that Scott Harris going into next season is going to have one established starter, Framber Valdez. Maybe you think Troy Melton is established. I like Jackson Jobe a lot. Maybe Ty Madden joins the staff. Cater Montero. How many are established? That's a definition that you and I would have to try and agree upon. And you're going to have a lot of young players around them. You're going to have the McGonicals. Eventually, you're going to have the Max Anderson. Eventually, you're going to have a Bryce Rayner. You need some type of veteran presence and stability. It can't be just Dylan Dingler, who's got 2 years of Major League Baseball experience under his belt. If Max Clark is in center field, think about it for a moment. If Max Clark is in center field and you've got Max Anderson at second and you've got Kevin McGonigal at short, you got Dylan Dingler behind the plate, you have man I don't know at third base just yet, and Torkelson at first, and Kerry Carpenter in right field. You would like a little more balance there. That's a lot of youth. You would like Riley Green in left field. I want him. I want to keep him. I'm going to sign him long term. I've said that before, and I would say it again. So I'm not trading guys like that. You think they should trade Skubal and or Mize, or both, I should say? That's fine. I get why you're thinking that. Somebody's got to pitch, and you don't have a lot of options in the minors. And I'm not saying you shouldn't trade Skubal. I think you got to be careful there, because the reason you're trading Skubal is you can't afford him. You can afford Casey Mize. I mean, he's going to make, if I were his agent, we're talking a minimum of $15 million a year. Minimum. If Jack Flaherty's worth 20 to the organization, Casey Mize should be worth that. So I personally, I would have to see what he was looking for before trading him. And I sure wouldn't trade Riley Green. And that's the thing we get caught up in. Oh my God, let's just get rid of all our good players so we can get some prospects or people we have no idea whether they'll be able to advance. I mean, everybody thought they won the trade with the Dodgers because they got Trey Sweeney. Trey Sweeney a year ago hit $162. And you think that's a long-term solution at shortstop? No, it's not. Our phone number on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. When we come back, the Dusty May situation, that's a big deal for college hoops. Probably a big deal for college athletics. Do you understand why he's gone? Can you relate? Do you appreciate it? All that and more coming up here on a Tell Me More Tuesday, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.tv. That's MHSAA.tv. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
The stock market goes up and then it goes down. It's fine while you're saving for retirement, but as you get closer to retirement, it can cause stress. Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. In my NFL days, the season could be a real roller coaster and a lot of fun. But roller coasters in retirement aren't as much fun. Do world events have you wondering if your retirement is safe? Will your money last even if the stock market were to take a dive? Have you had your retirement account stress tested to see what kind of risk you're actually taking? Let's not leave your retirement to chance. Hope is not a plan. Contact the pros at Mitch Lyons Wealth today and put us to work for you. Let's ensure your plan works even if the stock market doesn't. Text PLAN, PLAN, to 844-867-8335. That's PLAN to 844-867-8335. MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. Investment advisory services are offered through MLW Advisory Services, LLC, DBA Mitch Lyons Wealth, a registered investment advisor.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Our state is Mecca for golf, and one of Michigan's crown jewels is Tullymore and St. Ives, two world-class championship courses in one charming and beautiful location. The golf is challenging but fair. You're going to use every club in your bag. But let me tell you what makes Tullymore really special. It's the people. From the wait staff to the bartenders to the pro shop and the management, their sole purpose is to give you a memorable experience, and they do. Go to TullymoreGolf.com today and experience a Michigan masterpiece.
Coming up later today at 3 on The Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
It makes so much sense. It really does. That he could go in, keep this roster together, and he does have experience. He's a terrific person. You know, Bill, you're not. I can't believe how I'm attached to. My heart is attached to Michigan University, and. You know, Bill, you're not. I can't believe how I'm attached to. My heart is attached to Michigan University and that basketball program because we put so much into it. 11 years of no NCAA tournaments, and now it would be disappointment not to go to Sweet 16. So, got a lot of work in that, and so happy when we had Dusty, and I will help in any way they want me to help. If I just want the right guy coaching that place. We do not want to, step backwards at all. It's too great of a university athletic program to have much of a great. We're a true blue blood right now, and want to stay that way.
That's John Beeline talking with Bill Simonson on the Huge Show yesterday regarding the Dusty May news. Look, of course, they're going to ask John Beeline to be part of the process. They should. He knows a good coach when he sees one. Mike Boynton, the assistant coach, who's been an assistant for 8 years, was at Oklahoma State, now at Michigan with Dusty May, is the interim head coach. Puts him in a tough spot, obviously, on trying to get a coach that would live up to what has now become their standard. The blue blood stuff, you got to be careful. You're not. Michigan basketball is not a blue blood. It's not. They've been really successful. When John Beeline got there, they were really successful. All right, and we just witnessed perhaps the best Michigan basketball team of all time. It's kind of hard to deny that. But this is what's happening in college athletics. There's nothing you and I can do about it, but we should have seen it coming. Not specifically Dusty May, but we should have seen how so many coaches are being driven out of this atmosphere because of the lack of control by the NCAA and the wild, wild west that is now college athletics. I'm not going to sit here and say, I told you so, because I didn't think Dusty May would leave this early. But he did strike while the iron is hot. So it's hard to disagree with him. And you get $6 million a year, you get it. Tom Izzo's a rare bird. Him saying no years and years ago to NBA possibilities when he was going to make $4 million a year, sleeping on it and suggesting, okay, I'm going to stay at Michigan State. You just don't find that very often. That's a selfless man who truly loves his university, but it was also a different time where you could go and recruit a guy and keep that guy. Now it is an absolute pain in the ass to be a head coach at the collegiate level in any sport. I'm not just talking about basketball, any sport. You're not just recruiting new players to come into your program. You're recruiting the current players you've already recruited and gotten a commitment to stay there. On top of that, you're recruiting players in the portal by going through their handlers, their old coaches, their old high school teammates, any connection you can possibly have. It is nonstop for all these coaches. And what they really want to do, and I'm not saying, you know what, they deserve it, because they make a lot of money, and the really good ones, dare I say great ones, work really hard at it. What they want to do is they want to coach basketball. They want to coach football. And that's not what it is any longer. You are constantly, for as much time as you want to spend trying to break down X's and O's and trying to do so many different things that will help elevate your team, you are spending an equal amount of time, if not more time, trying to bring in players from other programs, from the portal, from high school, from all over the world. It's a vicious cycle. Now, they know what they signed up for. But once they have the success and the NBA comes calling and they don't have to worry about being the general manager, because that's what you are in college. You're the general manager and you're the head coach and you're the lead recruiter and you're a whole lot more. That's why I say this, and I say it consistently. No school asks more of a coach, I think, in all of college sports than Tom Izzo, than Michigan State does of Tom Izzo. He's the general manager of their basketball team. He's the head coach of their basketball team. He's their number one recruiter of their basketball team. He's the number one recruiter to Michigan State, and he's in on just about every significant meeting that requires them to advance their athletic programs in various sports. There's not many coaches in the country who do that. I doubt Duke is going to John Shire and saying, can you help us bring in the next David Cutcliffe? Just don't think that happens. Izzo's doing it on a continuous basis, and it's got to get old.
No, Duke just puts you see the picture they put out of John Shire wearing the Duke jersey when he was younger, the Troll, Michigan.
Oh, no, I didn't see
that.
Yeah,
him went out there of him it was a picture of him when he was way younger wearing like a Duke jersey with a Coach K like picture on it.
Yeah, look, and I think John Shire's from Illinois, so that tells you something.
Right.
I would tell you this, and I saw a Purdue troll too. Every school, I mean, it makes you look so small.
Yeah, the Purdue one's insane.
Yeah, you're gonna troll a team that just won a national championship.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, because you know what you're setting yourself up for. If Purdue's doing that, what is Michigan going to do in return? Keep your coach. That's fine. It's not like you guys have won a national championship.
We just got a national championship trophy.
Right. It's asinine. It's stupid. It's petty. The same the coaches aren't handling their social media accounts, but the same coaches who bitch about that complain that their players are obsessed with it and tell their players to get off social media.
Right, and they do
the
stuff
same
like
coaches have a program or at least a school that is doing that same very thing that they're complaining about on their behalf. It makes no sense.
Yeah, no.
If I'm the coach, crazy. I'm like, don't do that. Not because you're worried about repercussions, but just because I sit here and I tell my student athletes, get off social media. It messes with your head.
Yeah, and if their team social media is posting something like that.
And then their team social media is trying to do the exact same thing to another school.
The last memory,
by the way, just won a national championship.
Yeah, no.
See, when coaches tell their student athletes stay off social media, at least they know they're dealing with beer-bellied dads at home or students who can't wait to do an upside-down beer bong.
Right.
and have no credibility whatsoever.
The last memory
in this situation, they're trying to control their school's social media against a team that just beat their ass.
And the last memory of their Duke on the floor was losing a 20-point lead to UConn in the tournament.
Exactly. A UConn team that Michigan handled with ease.
Exactly, right.
Okay. So it's just, I think it's really stupid. I think it's beneath them. Like if you want to do that and you're, I don't know, give me Butler. Okay, whatever. But Purdue's got to face Michigan. Duke should be above that, considering they are considered a blue blood. To me, it makes no sense whatsoever. I think it's really stupid. But Dusty May, this is what happens at the collegiate level, where guys are tired of this stuff, and the NCAA is losing good players, good administrators, good coaches, because they have absolutely no clue on how to reel in the problems that they themselves have created. I can't imagine what people at the NCAA offices, if they have weekly meetings or daily meetings. Ladies and gentlemen, how are we going to fix this? What type of guardrails can we put in place where we stop losing some really good people associated with our sports? They don't have any ideas. Otherwise, they would have implemented them by now. It's a Totally More Tuesday. We're brought to you by Meyer. We're back after this.
Hey, West Michigan, Mitch Lyons here. You've heard about our support of Tiger legend Kirk Gibson's fight against Parkinson's disease. Now we have a local opportunity to support West Michigan families affected by Parkinson's too. The first annual Drive Out Parkinson's Golf event, presented by the Grady's Parkinson's Promise, will be held Monday, June 29th at Watermark Country Club. And while the golf is at full capacity, you still have a chance to help support the cause. Mitch Lyons Wealth is the title sponsor, and we'd love to have others join us. If your business would like to support and be represented at the outing, or if you would like to contribute personally, it's easy to do by joining our team today. Just go to birdease.com, that's BIRDEASE.com/Drive Out Parkinson's to sign up for sponsorship packages or donate today. X's and BrO's and The Huge Show will both do their shows live from the course, and Shep and Huge are playing in the event. Join us in supporting this great cause. A portion of the proceeds will go to Gibby Center, and the rest will support local families. Go to birdease.com/Drive Out Parkinson's or contact me at MitchLyonsWealth.com for more info.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Celebrate the soul of folk and Americana. The Lumineers Automatic World Tour comes to Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort Sunday night, July 19th, with special guest Josiah and the Bonnevilles, part of the Soaring Eagle Outdoor Summer Concert Series. Tickets start at $67 and are on sale now at the box office or online at etix.com. Showtime 8 p.m. See the Lumineers live with Josiah and the Bonnevilles, July 19th at Soaring Eagle Casino, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
makes so much sense. It really does. That he could go in, keep this roster together, and he does have experience. He's a terrific person, and he did a great job at Oklahoma State in a tough league. So it makes a lot of sense to me.
It's John Beeline with a huge show yesterday. He joins Bill Simonson once a week. Beeline talking about Dusty May's departure, Mike Boynton's elevation from lead assistant to interim head coach. Of course, he's been a head coach before. As I mentioned earlier, Oklahoma State went 119-109, I believe, 10 games above the break even.
Do you know who he had as a player at Oklahoma State?
Did he have Cade Cunningham?
He had Cade Cunningham.
Yeah,
in this season.
It was a challenging time for Oklahoma State with some of the violations that the school was dealing with. Other schools were dealing with in the Big 12 as well, but Oklahoma State seemed to be penalized more than anything else, and it wasn't Mike Boynton at the head of all that. So it's interesting how Dusty May goes to Dallas. He's going to have Cooper Flagg. He's going to have a top 10 pick. It's the $6 million, but I think it's more than anything. I don't think it's as much the lure of the NBA like it was for John Beeline. I think it's the disgust that they have with the NCAA. I think that was part of it for Beeline too. I mean, when you have Brisdakis, who plays 1 year off your bench, isn't even an all Big Ten selection, isn't even honorable mention all Big Ten, and he's being drafted in the second round or saying, I'm going to the NBA, it gets a little old. Remember what Dusty May said after winning the national championship. When people said, are you going to get a chance to enjoy it? He basically said, it's almost impossible to enjoy. One of his assistant coaches had mentioned right after winning, what do you think? Well, there's 19 minutes before the transfer portal opens. That's where their thinking is. I mean, mentally, it bogs you down. It's so hard to get through it. Look, I mean, you have a lot of people listening to us right now have really hard jobs. All right. So I respect the hell out of that too. So you're probably not going to have much grace when it comes to giving them the benefit of the doubt or a little bit of a leniency or feeling sad for them or anything like that. But that is it. Akeem Miskdeen, the assistant coach from Michigan, said that while on the floor and confetti was rolling down at 11:40 and the national championship game. He said 19 minutes until the transfer portal opened. And he sent off some texts and FaceTimes within the locker room to some potential people they wanted to bring into the program. That's where your mindset goes. At least
you're always competitive
level, you get a parade and you get a chance to unwind. Mike Brown, who just won the world championship with the New York Knicks, what do you think he's doing right now? He's on vacation.
Seriously.
And deservedly so. And they play more games, but it is not a year-round. Saying it's not year-round. Of course he's thinking about it. Of course there are things that Mike Brown is trying to implement. How are we going to get better? What are some things I'm going to do? He and his staff, without a doubt, and group texts, on FaceTimes, maybe once a week or something like. It's not 24/7 like it is at the collegiate level. It's really painstakingly long for them.
Yeah,
and again, I'm not asking you to feel sorry for them. I'm just telling you that is the challenge that a lot of these coaches face, and I think a lot of people seem to forget that.
So for Michigan's situation and Mike Boynton, isn't it when the coach gets hired, like when they're officially named the head coach, they have like 5 days or something like that until after they're named, I think it is, to move their names into the transfer portal.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier.
Yes,
so players can, Michigan players can go into the transfer portal 5 days after the coach is named. Okay. And if Michigan loses those players, where do they turn?
I mean, at least
so a guy like Trey McKinney has already said he's coming back,
yes,
which is great.
You got that tweet out last night. I think that made people feel better.
Where do you go? And then people will be saying, are you poaching? How you have to the good news, the reason Michigan did this, and it's the right thing, is he was a big reason why these guys he's recruited are coming here in the first place. So Mike Boynton was probably the lead, not the lead in every single one. I can't say that, because when you have various assistants, they are taking certain parts of the country. And they are in because they have relationships with certain parts of the country. So if Andy is really close with people on the West Coast, he's going to recruit California and Texas and Oregon and Washington and places like that. And if there's a really good player out there, he has those connections with coaches and or players. Whereas another assistant might be a specialty in the Midwest. I go and I recruit Ohio, and I go down to Indiana, and I make sure I get into Kentucky. Those are the places that I have my relationships with. So I'm not going to say that Mike Boynton is responsible for every single one of these guys, but all these coaches are at least meeting and talking to these players and talking to them about why they should be a member of their incoming class. That's what we're looking at. Tough spot. And I hope college athletics is taking note. Okay. This is the modern day college basketball coach. Win the championship or embrace the run to a championship, but knowing that it's going to be 365 days a year. And that doesn't even sometimes do it justice, because you could have a guy. I've got Andy McDonald. He's verbally committed. Well, then the guy leaves. I read an article yesterday where Dusty May had talked. He was in the middle of doing an interview with a member of the media, had to take a call, got a verbal commitment, but said, I don't believe it until, in so many words, I don't believe it until I get his name on the dotted line, because he could leave. And the player did leave. They're going to tell you one thing. They're going to turn around and do something different. And you as a coach can't sit there and go, damn it, Andy, you told me you were going to give, we're done. You can't do that because of the transfer portal. You have to keep the relationship. You have to keep your emotions in check. And he might come to your program sometime down the road. So it's a really difficult build up for any head coach. And you can't necessarily think that, well, we're a blue blood and everything's going to be fine. Ask Mark Pope how that worked out at Kentucky. You know, at one point, UCLA used to be a blue blood. How often do you think of UCLA as a challenge now? Probably not very often. At one point, UConn wasn't. And then Jim Calhoun got there. So you got to be, it can be very fickle when it comes to all this. Let's see. Shep, smart move by Dusty. Really shocked anyone thinks it's shocking that he left in the first place. Coaches won't stay long in college any longer, and he got his title. Now he gets the best young player in the NBA, no state tax, and possibly Cade in 3 years if Trajan doesn't wake up and get a legit Robin for him. Fair point. I don't know if Cade Cunningham views it that way, but it would be a concern for me. I don't know why we always think players want to go, quote unquote, home, but your state tax, playing with a guy like Cooper Flagg and playing for a guy like Dusty May, depending on what kind of coach he may be at the NBA level, are all positives for sure, right? They're getting a new building as well. So I get that. I understand that mindset. But if I would ask you this, if other players or if great players want to play with other great players, why can't Detroit get that? Where's the great player to go alongside Cade Cunningham? Go get a guy like that. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the Hockey Hall of Fame and the voting that took place and the Major League Baseball All-Star voting. We're going to get to all that coming up here on X's and Bros. Stay with us on a Tullymore Tuesday. We're brought to you this hour by our friends at Meijer.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Celebrate the soul of folk and Americana. The Lumineers Automatic World Tour comes to Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort Sunday night, July 19th, with special guest Josiah and the Bonnevilles, part of the Soaring Eagle Outdoor Summer Concert Series. Tickets start at $67 and are on sale now at the box office or online at etix.com. Showtime 8 p.m. See the Lumineers live with Josiah and the Bonnevilles, July 19th at Soaring Eagle Casino. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
You know, we're fortunate here in Michigan. We have some of the greatest golf courses in the country. Tullymore and St. Ives is part of the reason we can brag the way we do about our golf. Once you visit Tullymore, you'll keep coming back. The view is breathtaking. The golf is fantastic. The accommodations are regal, and the people are special. It really does feel like a home away from home at Tullymore. Make your play and stay reservations today by going to tullymoregolf.com or by calling 1-800-972-4837. That's 1-800-972-4837.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sportsnet. Sign up like the Huge Show did with the Detroit Sportsnet Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at tigers.com and MLB.com.
You know, I was thinking about this the other day. The NCAA's got issues. We know that. Welcome back, by the way. X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 10. 35 after the hour. NCAA's got issues, not just because Dusty May leaves, but because of all the problems coaches and players and administrators have said out loud, and the NCAA seemingly doesn't do anything about it. I'd love to know. I'd love to go interview people at the NCAA offices in Indiana and say, just out of curiosity, I'm going to a conference hall. What are you guys talking about? Like, what are you doing? How do you justify your jobs? Sit down and tell me, what are you doing to fix any issues you think that are prevalent in the college game today? What are you talking about? Andy, how long have we had these systems, these situations? And it doesn't seem like anything's being addressed. Am I wrong there?
No, you're not.
Just
at
status
all.
quo? Okay.
That's
Remember, I mean, it
truth.
wasn't good enough for 32 teams. It had to be 64, and now it's even more in college basketball's tournament. You can't do the Final Four, as in college football. You can't do the Final Four grouping. It's got to be more than that. It's got to be 12. We're going to talk about having even more than that taking place.
Yeah, why not just make it 24 teams?
Yeah, it's and nothing gets done. Like, this is the way it is. Leave it the way it is. It's money. It's greed. It's the root of all evil. We know that. So the NCAA's got issues. Canada's got some issues with their hockey teams. Think about it for a minute. The amount of vitriol from Canadian fans and media, I might add, toward Austin Matthews, who captained Team USA to gold. Brady Tkachuk, who was part of that gold medal winning team. Connor Hellebuck, who is the MVP of that gold medal winning team. And why so many of these places or so many of these players are saying, I want to get the hell out of here. I'm tired of it. Quinn Hughes, part of the reason he wanted out of Vancouver. Think about it. Nathan McKinnon, anything happen to him? Did anybody treat Sidney Crosby that way? Or Wayne Gretzky? Or Mario Lemieux? Any American media do that to any of those players who beat Team USA in gold, who won world championships, who won Stanley Cups, who win games on a regular basis? Any of them treated that way. Do you ever recall Sidney Crosby saying, I got to get the hell out of Pittsburgh? Why? The media here is just relentless. I scored that gold-winning goal, and they won't let me live it down. Hell no. They don't say that. They embrace it. Are people in Colorado telling Nathan McKinnon, I can't believe you missed that open net. We don't want you being our captain, or assistant captain in that case. Or Cale Makar. Do they do that to him? No. Don't do any of it. And I get hockey's a hell of a lot more important in Canada than it is in the United States. But was there ever a moment that you can recall in your lifetime where you were more proud to be an American sports fan when both the women and the men won gold in February?
It's awesome. Yeah,
think about it.
I mean, it's awesome.
Is there ever a time? I'm talking about as a nation sports fan. I'm not talking about as a Detroit sports fan. You were fired up when the Lions went 15-2. You loved it when the Pistons won the world championship in 2004, if you were around then. I was extremely proud when the Red Wings were on that run where they won 4 cups in 11 years. Glowing in 1984 for a championship. I'm sure a lot of people really proud to be Michiganders when Michigan State won a championship with Tom Izzo in 2000, and then Michigan just won one. Maybe not if you're a Michigan State fan, proud of the Wolverines, but I'm talking about as a Michigan sports fan, the state of Michigan sports fan. What happens Canada's going to drive out all their really good American-born players. You just want Canadian-born players, or you just want American players that aren't going to beat your team in gold. And if they didn't win it and they blew a lead or quote-unquote choked it away, what would you be saying? Oh, using it as an example of why your guy or your team can't get over the proverbial hump because this guy can't get it done when it needs to be gotten done. It's crazy. Speaking of hockey, so I mentioned the Hall of Fame vote that has come out regarding the Hockey Hall of Fame, and there's no Chris Osgood, and there's no Henrik Zetterberg, which is unbelievable. I mean, Henrik Zetterberg won the Conn Smythe for basically the MVP of the Stanley Cup Finals. He's one of 30 players in history to have triple gold: Stanley Cup, Olympic gold medal, and a world championship gold medal. I'm not trying to take anything away from Keith Tkachuk, because Keith Tkachuk had more points than Zetterberg, played more games, but had more points than Zetterberg. Okay. Never won a Stanley Cup, never won an individual award like Zetterberg had. Never won a world championship, never won a gold medal, but he's in the Hall of Fame before Henrik Zetterberg. Chris Osgood was the starting goaltender for 2 Stanley Cups, won 3, has 401 wins, and has a better goals against average than Pekka Rinne, and yet he's getting in. This is 5 times now where Henrik Zetterberg has been passed over, more than that for Chris Osgood. It's bothersome. I actually reached out to Ozzy last night, and Chris Osgood said he'll come on. He just can't come on right now because of the time difference. He's out of the country. It's incredible to me. Osgood has also won a couple of William Jennings awards. Okay. And that's where you're combined with your teammate to be the best goaltending tandem in the National Hockey League. When he did this, I don't know how many there are now. When he accomplished his 400 wins, there's only 9 other goalies at the time who had 400 wins or more. How does that happen? I think Zetterberg is going to get in for sure. I'm worried that Osgood has not gotten in yet, and I think he strongly deserves it. Why do you think a guy like Carey Price, who was considered the best goal at one point during his stretch, he was considered the best goalie in the world? Why is this? Why is this taking place? Is Zetterberg getting punished because he had Datsuk? Is Osgood getting punished because of the team he had in front of him? And if that's the case, why don't we do that with other great goalies?
I was going to say, or just other players in general, because a lot of teams that win championships or do great things, they have good players around them. So I don't really think that's a fair way to look at it, no matter what, in that situation. Plus, that those players for the Red Wings were integral parts of why they were good. In my opinion,
Dominik Hasek's in the Hall of Fame. He had a great Red Wings team in front of him.
Right.
So why doesn't he get punished? Because of the number of Vezinas that he won, right? Yeah.
Makes sense.
I'm sorry. You don't win 400 games because everybody else in front of you is great. They help you. There's no question about that. But Chris Osgood still had to be a hell of a goalie in order for him to get the 401 wins. Am I wrong there? It's a save percentage of 90.5 in his career with the Wings. If you just want to look at the Wings, it's the exact same. But he is who he is. Whether he played on Long Island with the Islanders or played in St. Louis, where he spent 2 years, he is the same guy. He's a 90.5% save percentage. I mean, with Detroit, it was 90.5. With St. Louis, in 2 years, it was 90.7. And with the Islanders, it was 90.4. He's a 2.5 goals against average goalie. With Detroit, it was 2.49. With St. Louis, it was 2.34. And with the Islanders, it was 2.65. That's as consistent as you can get. It's not like he wasn't durable. He played for 17 years and started close to 750 games.
I mean, the question seems like it would always beg after that is whoever did make it this time over him. It's like, what's the argument for those guys that did make it to make it over some of these guys, I guess.
I'm sure people realize he led the league in goals against average in 2008. When they won their last cup, you could have made the argument he should have won the Conn Smythe. He had a 2.09 goals against average. He led the league in 1996 in wins. He had 39 wins. That was the year Detroit set the record for a number of victories. He played 50 games and he won 39. He was 39, 6-5 with a goals against average of 2.17. This is not a flash in the pan type deal. You win 39 games, 33 games, 30 games, 32 games, 27, 26. That's a hell of a year. I don't get it. I think he's getting penalized for the team on which he played. And Andy, I think you're right. Think about it for a second. How many other guys does that happen to?
No, it's like I'm hearing, you hear all these numbers, and again, Chris Osgood was the first person that came to mind of me with our poll question of the day. I'm trying to think of why he wouldn't have the statistics that add up to get him into the Hall of Fame. I really don't understand it. But
are we going to penalize, or are they going to penalize Andre Vasilevsky in Tampa? Because at some point, somebody will say he had 39 wins this year. And he did. He had 39 wins for the Lightning. Incredible season. Chris Osgood had 39 wins in 1996. In 50 games, Vasilevsky had 39 wins in 58 games this year. I'm just giving you a perspective. That's all.
Yeah, believe it or not, he had a pretty good team in front of him too. So it's like,
yeah,
every good player has good players around him too.
This is not
especially in
golf and
hockey.
tennis.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Vasilevsky's won 2 cups. Osgood won 2 cups. Vasilevsky's won 2 Vezinas. And he has led the league 6 times in victories. He's a Hall of Fame goalie. 44, 39, 35, 31, 39, 34, 30, 38, 39. Incredible. He's got 370 wins. He might get to 400 this coming season. That's how good this dude is. Truly one of the greatest goalies we've seen recently. Save percentage, 917, a little bit better than Osgood. Goals against average, not as good as Osgood. And again, Osgood played 17 years, Vasilevsky 12 years. I'm saying Vasilevsky's a Hall of Fame goalie. I think Chris Osgood is too. And I think the Red Wings are getting jobbed here. And my hope is that the Red Wings are, as an organization, are taking this seriously and saying the same thing and saying, hey, you know what? This is bullcrap. What's going on? Don't like it one bit. And it should be better. Speaking of should be better, I'm going to give you, after the fan voting for the All-Star, Major League Baseball All-Star game, I want you to guess who you think should be leading in votes and who is leading in votes. If I said to you, well, we'll do that at 8 o'clock when we come back. Let me get to a text first. Go ahead. Fire away on a text.
Yeah, sure. From Chad, just a quick one, but I understand. It was earlier when we were talking about some of the trades for Tarek Skubal, if they were to get rid of him and who they would get back. Or also, I think if the Red Wings were to trade Larkin for just prospects, like, I don't know which one he was talking about, but it said prospects equals scratch-off tickets. And if I had to guess, that would probably be about the Red Wings if they were to trade Larkin.
Yeah, I think he's 100% right. He could be saying that about Tarek Skubal too.
Yeah, either way.
Right. Here's what we did yesterday, in case you missed it. We asked you if you traded Dylan Larkin, and it was, at the time, we were thinking Florida, right? and we said, okay, the number 9, because it's the number 9. Ottawa traded Brady Tkachuk
number 9
to Florida for the number 9 and number 21 overall pick. So I said to Andy, who loves hockey, who was the number 9 pick a year ago? He couldn't answer the question. Could you even answer it today? Even though I gave you that question, I gave you the answer to the question yesterday.
Nope.
You couldn't remember it, right? It was Roddy Murka, for Buffalo.
Sure. Yeah. Roddy Murka, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's the guy. Like, go to your buddies and do that.
No, and nobody would know. That's the thing. It's funny. It's like, and
I have no idea.
This has just happened time and time again with the Wings of getting these picks and getting guys that you're not sure about coming back. And you want Steve Yzerman to make those same kind of picks with the key piece right now that you have to. I don't understand that thought process.
Yeah, if I said to you even 2 years ago, who was number 1 overall, I think a lot of people would have a hard time remembering. Once I say it's Macklin Celebrini, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then when you get Leshunov from Michigan State, the only reason you know that is because it's from Michigan State, but you don't remember anybody else from that draft. You don't remember a damn player. And I'm not saying you should. I just find it hilarious.
No, because college hockey isn't really watched like that. I mean, sure, like the diehards might watch it that close, but I mean, if you're going to tell me that the top 10 draft picks in any of these NHL, you're crazy, man. There's no way you know that.
Yeah. Tell me who the Red Wings took 2 years ago in the first round. Any idea?
That would have been Nate Danielson at that time.
No,
right?
that was 3 years ago. 2 years ago was Michael Branzek-Nygaard.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
I know you know his name now, sure, but like you didn't then.
Exactly. you had no idea that the Sweden who played in Mora was going to be good, bad, or indifferent. We still don't know. So he's right. The texter's 100% right. It's scratch off tickets. That's a great way to describe it. I hope I remember that.
Seriously, that's like I love that.
I want to steal that line. I do. I want to steal the line. The whole belief that, oh my God, what a great package you got. See, what happened in the NBA last night with Giannis Antetokounmpo going to Miami, at least Bucks fans right now, they're going, okay, this is who we got back. Tyler Hero, 3 players, a first-round pick, three first-rounders. They know, and you only got 2 rounds. You only got 2 rounds in basketball. They know what they're getting. They're getting at least some guys who you might buy a jersey. NHL, it is the scratch-off ticket. You have no idea what you get. And same thing with Major League Baseball. Because you're drafting 18-year-olds at the NHL level and at Major League Baseball. We don't even know how good Max Clark is yet. And he was 3rd overall. Our phone number on the Meijer hotline, 866-838-4843. Let alone a player you haven't drafted yet. We're back with the final hour that includes Anthony Broom at 8:35 to talk about the Dusty May situation on X's and Bros.
The stock market goes up and then it goes down. It's fine while you're saving for retirement, but as you get closer to retirement, it can cause stress. Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. In my NFL days, this season could be a real roller coaster and a lot of fun, but roller coasters in retirement aren't as much fun. Do world events have you wondering if your retirement is safe? Will your money last even if the stock market were to take a dive? Have you had your retirement account stress tested to see what kind of risk you're actually taking? Let's not leave your retirement to chance. Hope is not a plan. Contact the pros at Mitch Lyons Wealth today and put us to work for you. Let's ensure your plan works even if the stock market doesn't. Text PLAN, P-L-A-N, to 844-867-8335. That's PLAN to 844-867-8335. MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. Investment advisory services are offered through MLW Advisory Services, LLC, DBA Mitch Lyons Wealth, a registered investment advisor. Hey, West Michigan, Mitch Lyons here. You've heard about our support of Tiger legend Kirk Gibson's fight against Parkinson's disease. Now we have a local opportunity to support West Michigan families affected by Parkinson's too. The first annual Drive Out Parkinson's Golf event presented by the Grady's Parkinson's Promise will be held Monday, June 29th at Watermark Country Club. And while the golf is at full capacity, you still have a chance to help support the cause. Mitch Lyons Wealth is the title sponsor, and we'd love to have others join us. If your business would like to support and be represented at the outing, or if you would like to contribute personally, it's easy to do by joining our team today. Just go to birdease.com. That's BIRDEASE.com/Drive Out Parkinson's to sign up for sponsorship packages or donate today. X's and Bros and the Huge Show will both do their shows live from the course, and Shep and Huge are playing in the event. Join us in supporting this great cause. A portion of the proceeds will go to Gibby Center, and the rest will support local families. Go to birdease.com/Drive Out Parkinson's or contact me at MitchLionsWealth.com.
Shop at Meyer with M-Perks and save up to $1 per gallon on your next tank of gas. For nearly every dollar you spend on groceries, household essentials, clothing, you'll earn M-Perks points. The more you shop, the more your points add up, and the more you save at the pump. At Meyer, we're working hard to help you get a good deal more by helping you save up to $1 per gallon on gas. Savings based on points earned. Exclusions apply. Not valid in Wisconsin. Max 30 gallons. See mperks.com for details.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at FreddieThePizzaMan.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit FreddieThePizzaMan.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Final hour of our program here on a Tullymore Tuesday. We're brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Tigers a winner last night, 5-3. They've won 4 in a row. They beat up Garrett Cole pretty good. Dusty May leaving for the Dallas Mavericks. The interim head coach, Mike Boynton. Meanwhile, latest All-Star voting, Dingler and McGonigal 3rd, Green 9th among outfielders. Oklahoma wins the baseball national championship. Heat acquire Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis for 4 players, 3 first-rounders and a second-rounder. And the latest Hockey Hall of Fame class includes Keith Tkachuk, Patrice Bergeron, Carey Price, and Pekka Rinne. Our Mitch Lanswell poll question of the day, and you can vote as often as you want. Which Detroit athlete is more deserving of a Hall of Fame bid? Lou Whitaker, Henrik Zetterberg, Chris Osgood, or Herman Moore? Let's go to Mike. He's in Grand Rapids listening to our flagship station, WMAX 96.1 FM, The Game. Hi, Mike. Thanks for holding. How are you?
Hey, Shep. Great to talk to you again here. No, really appreciate it. Hey, just as a quick side check here, really look forward to having Chris Osgood on the show. That'd be a real great show to catch. So I look forward to that in the future.
Yeah, no problem. Yep.
Hey,
hopefully that'll happen soon, but he's out of the country right now, so he'll get back.
No, absolutely. So, hey, this is kind of the emotional feeling I've had, but it's been a little substantiated, kind of the reaction I'm getting or feeling from the NHL to the Red Wings. Now, we're talking about Chris Osgood and Henrik Zetterberg being snubbed in the Hall of Fame, which I think both you and I agree that is a snubbing. And I've looked at it a few ways, especially with the draft, which I refuse to believe over the past 10 years we haven't had, and you can correct me on this, we haven't really had a top 3 draft. We definitely have not had the first round draft from the lottery, which again, I refuse to believe that that's substantial or that's valid. I just can't understand how we've been snubbed from a draft perspective. And personally, I think that, and historically I've read this, that, Mike Ilitch was the guy to say, hey, we're going to make this Red Wings team be a championship team. And in the late 80s, early 90s, when the NHL didn't have a salary cap, he went and bought and worked to grab the right talent to make us a contender and make us a powerhouse during that time. And from what I've gathered is that was a catalyst that drove the NHL to get a salary cap. And from what I've also heard is they didn't really appreciate that move that Mike Ilitch put in, the dedication. And I personally just believe, I feel like we've been kind of receiving from the NHL kind of a snubbing across the board, maybe bad blood, or just they haven't quite wanted to adopt the Red Wings, as that home team ever since then. So I get very frustrated at the NHL and the reaction we get from our Red Wings.
I do too. I think your hockey knowledge is evident. I always ask people though, I mean, who's the guy you wanted that you didn't get if you were a top 5 guy? So Detroit got screwed. I think a lot of people feel like I got screwed in 2021. Simon Edvinsson was the draft pick at 6. Do you like him? Or would you have wanted Owen Power, who went 1st overall? Would you have wanted Matty Beniers, who went 2nd overall? Mason McTavish went 3rd. And there's a belief that Mason McTavish could be part of a deal if Detroit went with Anaheim for a Dylan Larkin trade. And I keep hearing a lot of people, I wouldn't want Mason McTavish because he's coming off a bad year. So I think in hockey, where these players and you follow it very closely, how many people are just using that as a cushion and an excuse? I always use the 2020 draft as an example. When Alexis Lafreniere was drafted 1st overall, everybody was beside themselves. Detroit got screwed. They end up getting 4th overall pick. Who would you rather have? Alexis Lafreniere or Lucas Raymond?
And it's a good call, and we can't pick and choose which years, but I'll look at it going, would it be Simon Edvinsson, or would it be Lucas Raymond, or would it be Connor Bedard? And I would have taken Connor Bedard.
100%.
And we, like you and I have talked about, we can't pick and choose exactly which years we have, but I just look at it. I just feel the sentiment and maybe that goes down to viewership or the amount of money in the market. I mean, we both know that when the Chicago Blackhawks were chosen for that first round, it made sense from a market perspective. They want the Blackhawks to continue to be relevant or grow to relevance again. But I just feel like the NHL just has something that is just a bit of a snubbing for our Red Wings.
I get that. And I think there's a lot of people who share that sentiment. Mike, thanks for holding, and thank you for the phone call. It's a great discussion.
Thank you.
Connor Bedard was taken first overall in 2023. That's the year Detroit got Nate Danielson, 9th overall. Detroit had a legitimate beef to be the first overall pick. I totally get that. I actually liked Adam Fantilli as well because he came from the University of Michigan, and I saw him play quite a bit. He went 3rd overall, I believe, to Columbus. The only thing I would argue and push back on that Mike had to say there would be the NHL would want the Red Wings to be relevant too. It doesn't behoove the league at all if the Red Wings aren't good. I don't think.
No, it doesn't. Not from the viewership standpoint. That's for sure. People, I mean, the Red Wings are still in a bunch of national games every year, and no matter how bad they've been for the last 10 years, they're still getting plenty of viewership. So,
yep, 100%. But I understand where he's coming from because I share the sentiment Mike has. I don't think a league like the NHL is sitting there saying the Red Wings have had their time. Let's turn the page. I don't think that's the case at all because I think the Red Wings are a marquee franchise. This is not a Detroit Lions blip. All right. We all know there are certain teams every league hopes to promote. The NBA is still clicking its heels because the Knicks won the championship. You and I both know that, right? They love that big market stuff. But they also, there's also a tradition associated with the NHL anyway that is really important. Original 6 teams, sure. I mean, it's not like you can't have other teams, especially from the state of Florida, which has been the case, where they're winning championships pretty regularly.
Vegas.
Carolina's obviously snapped that string. But I do think that the league would love to have a team like Detroit and Chicago and, of course, the Rangers and Boston, not just because of the markets, but because of the specifically hockey markets. There's a difference between size of market and a hockey market. Detroit's a hockey market. So, of course, you want them to do well. Toronto's a hockey market. Of course, you'd want them to do well. Montreal, but they're not American. It's not an American market, you know, and this comes down to money, who you're selling your advertisements to. Okay. So I do think as much as they would have wanted a guy like Connor Bedard to go to Chicago, had he gone to Detroit, I don't think it would have been a bad thing for the league. And Connor Bedard's been a good player. Probably not the player everybody thought he would be. I think he's a career minus 98, but a lot of that has to do with the team on which he plays. But that draft went Connor Bedard, Leo Carlsson, Adam Fantilli. Anybody know who William Smith is? Because William Smith, who played at the National Team Development Program, I might add, for San Jose, has scored 42 goals in 143 games. So not exactly. In other words, my point is who you're getting. You know, sometimes you're not always sure. I remember watching Ryan Leonard a little bit at the National Team Development Program and thinking, boy, that would be a nice fit. Well, he hasn't turned out to be that guy. He's played 84 games in the NHL. He scored 21 goals. It's more than Nate Danielson. But still hasn't been the impact player perhaps many people thought he would be. This is the roll of the proverbial dice you're getting. Folks, go to Hockey Reference and check it out. And look at age. They're all 18 years old. Okay? There's an exception. Adam Gaijan was 19 when he was drafted out of the North American Hockey League in the second round. But you're drafting 18-year-olds. You're not sure what you're getting. Like if leagues want to change certain things about their draft process, go ahead. Here's a suggestion. Draft guys who are a little bit older. Don't make it your draft year is 18. Make it 19. That 1 year at the collegiate level, 1 year in major juniors can make a big deal and a big difference. Anthony Broom's going to join us 8:35 to talk about Dusty May when we come back. The Major League Baseball All-Star voting. It's another problem with Major League Baseball. They just don't do it right. We'll talk about it on the other side. Brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
In the den. It's a new day to celebrate and be free. It's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a new day for winning. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, your getaway reimagined. This is Matt Shepard. The Tigers' winning streak has reached 4 in a row now. Their 5-3 win over Garrett Cole and the Yankees perhaps was as impressive as any win they've had this month. They roughed up Cole for 9 hits and 5 runs, chasing him after 4 1/3 innings. Meanwhile, Framber Valdez battled through some early control issues, allowing just a run and 4 hits while punching out 8 Yankees in 6 innings. After going 6-22 in the month of May and dropping 16 games under 500 on May 31st and 11.5 games out of first, the Tigers are now an MLB best 12-6 in June and within 7 games of striking distance in the Central Division. It's a tale of 2 months for them and perhaps a totally different perspective for Tiger fans.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Shop at Meyer with M-Perks and save up to $1 per gallon on your next tank of gas. For nearly every dollar you spend on groceries, household essentials, clothing, you'll earn M-Perks points. The more you shop, the more your points add up, and the more you save at the pump. At Meyer, we're working hard to help you get a good deal more by helping you save up to $1 per gallon on gas. Savings based on points earned. Exclusions apply. Not valid in Wisconsin. Max 30 gallons. See mperks.com for details.
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sportsnet. Sign up like the Huge Show did with the Detroit Sportsnet Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at tigers.com and MLB.com.
Okay, back with you here on X's and Bros, 18 after the hour, bottom of the hour. Anthony Broom will join us from On 3, talk about the Dusty May situation at Michigan. He leaves for Dallas. $6 million helps, but the state of NCAA situations for coaches these days sure doesn't aid things either. We were talking about the disappointment with the Hockey Hall of Fame and that Zetterberg and Osgood get squeezed out yet again. Well, look at the MLB final, well, not final, but the results of the fan voting right now. And it's not that fans shouldn't have a vote, all right, but it's borderline ridiculous that they just vote for. I mean, Ernie Clement, who's a good player, okay, he's not a great player, but he's a good player. Ernie Clement is leading all voters, not second baseman. All voters. There's more people who have voted for Ernie Clement than they did Vladimir Guerrero Jr. There's more people who have voted for Ernie Clement than those voting for Bobby Witt or Yordan Alvarez. It's crazy. It really is. But that's the situation that baseball now has to live with. I'm not saying Ernie Clement isn't worthy, but oh my God. I mean, he's gotten over 2 million votes. Nobody else has gotten that many votes. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has got less than 1.5 million. Look at the Blue Jays. They come out in full force. Alejandro Kirk, who's played, 40 games?
40 games.
40 games.
He has one home run.
He's second in catchers. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is first and first baseman. Ernie Clement is first and second baseman. Kazumo Okamoto is second in third baseman. George Springer is second in designated hitter. Andres Jimenez is second in shortstops. Blue Jays fans show up and vote for their guys. Hell, Miles Straw is 10th in outfielders, just a little bit below Riley Green. It's absolutely crazy. Dylan Dingler should be the catcher. I'm not dissing Shea Langoliers.
No, but how? I mean,
that's not fair because Shea Langoliers has had a very good season. I'm not saying he's not worthy. I think he is worthy. I think Dylan Dingler's more worthy, but Shea Langoliers has had a really nice season so far. He's a guy who's driven in 35 runs. He's got 16 bombs, and he's got a WAR. A defensive WAR of 2 and an overall WAR of 2. Dylan Dingler has a WAR of 3.5.
Yeah, I mean,
so well above.
You're not being.
He's got how many homers does Dylan Dingler have?
18? No,
18 bombs.
Yeah, I think it's 18 and 55 driven in. Unless he drove one in last night.
He leads. Hunter Goodman's got more homers, but Dylan Dingler's got more RBIs. He's got a better WAR. And if you're going to dive deep into what baseball has suddenly become analytics, weighted runs created plus, he leads all catchers in that regard too. So I'm a little confused at why he would be so far behind and currently sitting third behind Langoliers and behind Alejandro Kirk. So it's a popularity contest.
Exactly. Like, how is that even a thing? Like, how does that happen?
I don't know.
Crazy.
I mean, if it's Shea Langoliers, the only thing I would say is this: if it's Shea Langoliers, I think you can stomach that. Hunter Goodman's in the National League, so it really doesn't matter. All right, so I'm just looking at American League catchers. That's all that should really matter. Okay, but Shea Langoliers, you want him to be part of it? Fine. He's got 19 bombs. If you're going to sit there and tell me 18 homers is a big deal, that's fine. Dingler's got 55 RBIs. I said he's got a 2 WAR. He's got a defensive 2 WAR. He's got a 2.83, closer to a 3 WAR than anything else. Langolier's got a 3 WAR too. So I'm going to give a little bit of grace there, a little bit of understanding that all my guys shouldn't be first. How much does it hurt that Kevin McGonigal is both a shortstop and a third baseman? If he was just a shortstop, he's not overtaking Bobby Witt Jr. I'm not suggesting he would. But Andres Jimenez for the Blue Jays is second? And then it goes Kevin McGonigal. Kevin McGonigal has half as many votes as Andres Jimenez in Toronto. Is it Detroit fans? Where are the Detroit fans in that regard? Riley Green is 9th among outfielders. If you look at Riley Green among left fielders only, and unfortunately, that's not how they break it down. They break it down just by being an outfielder. But if you look at Riley Green just as a left fielder, he's got a 1.5 WAR, same as Juan Soto, by the way. Cody Bellinger is deserving of where he's at. He's leading the way. I get that. I mean, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, Byron Buxton. I'm talking about a left fielder, Cody Bellinger. Judge is a right fielder. Trout's a center fielder. Buxton's a center fielder. And Buxton hit his 25th homer the other day. He's had a really good season. Stays healthy. He's one of the better players in the American League. But Riley Green 9th? Behind Jesus Sanchez? Randy Arozarena? Stupid. Ridiculous. Major League Baseball's got to do something about this. You've got to find a way. I'm not saying every Tiger deserves to be, in the All-Star game. We get caught up on our guys. We've got to have a reality check too. So I say this to people all the time. Okay, your guy's in, who's out? If you're an Athletics fan, do you understand why you would be rooting for Shea Langoliers? Can you understand why people think he is as deserving as Dylan Dingler? Yes or no? I would hope so.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you understand why Bobby Witt is as deserving, if not more, than Kevin McGonigal?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And do you understand why certain outfielders, it wouldn't be Trout?
Yeah, I don't think that every Tiger should be starting in this game. I just think that Dylan Dingler deserves to be on the roster. There's not a question about it. His stats back it up. Like that's what drives me nuts.
But we don't know what the roster is yet. We're talking about starters here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. But last year the Tigers did have a pretty good representation, and they had a good amount of people start, and they didn't exactly look the best. So yeah, you definitely got to ask yourself that question if your players actually deserve to be starting on the team. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, if you can separate yourself, you and your buddies, I think of Andy and his buddies who are going up north for their annual golf outing, and they're saying, well, you know what? This is bull crap. I can't believe Dingler isn't an all-star. I can't believe McGonigal's not an all-star. I can't believe Riley Green. Well, they probably don't even think Riley Green, but they're going to say Dingler and McGonigal. My hope is that Andy goes back and says, so you would say no to Shea Langoliers? Absolutely. He doesn't deserve to be in there.
Well, what they would tell me is they just don't know or they didn't pay attention to that. That's what most people do.
Exactly, because they're locked in on the Tigers only.
Exactly.
And that's understandable. Okay, a lot of fans.
Yeah, I get that, by the way. I want to make sure from the fan perspective and our listeners, like, I do get that. Like, it's not like you have as much time probably to watch this or you don't do it for your job. So I get it.
I understand that too. I'm not expecting people to do that. But look, I would ask you this. Who's in first place in the AL Central? The Chicago White Sox, right?
Yep. It's kind of flip-flopping between them and Cleveland right now. They're playing each other.
Exactly.
Correct? Yeah.
Has Colson Montgomery had himself a nice year? He's the shortstop for Chicago. He's had 16 bombs. Okay. He's driven in close to 40 runs so far. That's pretty damn good. Can you understand why people in Chicago who are in first place feel like he should be at least in the conversation?
That's the other part of the whole thing I was going to say. The Tigers are in where they're at right now. So,
right. And he's not part of the conversation. Let me get to the final results of the poll question from yesterday. We asked you this: which is the Tigers' most deserving All-Star? On cue: Dylan Dingler, Kevin McGonigal, Tarek Skubal, or Riley Green. What did the masses say?
Yesterday for the poll question, with that, we had Dylan Dingler at 86% of the vote, which does not surprise me. Riley Green, none. Kevin McGonigal, 13% of the vote, and Terry Skubal got 1%.
Okay, fair enough. Time for the daily wager, or should we save it till the end of Anthony Broom's?
We can do the daily wager quick. It's not like it's the same kind of thing as yesterday.
Casino and Resort. Yep.
We got Dylan Cease, who I picked yesterday to get 8 strikeouts. That was plus 148. He did get to 8 strikeouts exactly, even though he didn't have his best. Yeah, so that was good to get to. So that was another nice plus hit for you. I'm going again with a strikeout tonight. I'm going Carlos Rodon, who was pitching against the Tigers tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's had not a great outing his last couple times out with a 5.40 ERA and a 4.50 ERA, he got 7 strikeouts in his last 4 or 5 starts. And the Tigers, even when they put up 9 runs against the Astros last week, they still managed to strike out. I forget how many times it was in that game. So the proof is there that Rodon gets swing and miss no matter what. I'm going to take him to get 7 strikeouts again tonight.
That's the Daily Wager, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. On the other side, Anthony Broom joins us to talk Dusty May leaving for Dallas. Stay with us.
Huge here for the Carmody brothers and all the Buffalo Wild Wings locations in Michigan. They have some huge deals happening every week. Buy one boneless wing, get one free every Thursday. They also have their bottomless appetizers. Groups can get bottomless apps starting at $9.99, and they also have the Pick Six meal for two. Get 2 entrees, 2 sides, and 2 drinks starting at $19.99. That's happening at all Buffalo Wild Wings locations in Michigan. Huge deals every week.
Shop at Meijer with M-Perks and save up to $1 per gallon on your next tank of gas. For nearly every dollar you spend on groceries, household essentials, clothing, you'll earn M-Perks points. The more you shop, the more your points add up, and the more you save at the pump. At Meijer, we're working hard to help you get a good deal more by helping you save up to $1 per gallon on gas. Savings based on points earned. Exclusions apply. Not valid in Wisconsin. Max 30 gallons. See mperks.com for details.
Huge here for the incredible Crystal Mountain Resort in Thompsonville, Michigan. If you've never experienced the mountain, it's unbelievable. They offer up 36 holes of championship golf, Betsy Valley, Mountain Ridge, accommodations, a ton of choices. Go to crystalmountain.com, see everything for yourself. One of the top spas in America. They can handle businesses, small groups, big groups, your buddies, the ladies, and more. Book your getaway now at crystalmountain.com. That's crystalmountain.com.
Hey, I thought Dusty was going to break my record of the winningest coach like in 3 years. The way he's been going, he was an amazing 2 years, and we got to take stock in that and the excitement he brought to the program that had finished last in the Big Ten just 3 years ago. So it's an exciting time. I hate to see the situation we're in, but college athletics is a difficult thing to maneuver right now. And while the pros can be crazier at times, it's an alternative that some coaches just want to consider and do if they have the opportunity.
John Beeline on the huge show yesterday afternoon, heard on the same great station affiliates throughout the state of Michigan from 3 until 7. Welcome back, X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. Anthony Broom, very close to this situation, covers college athletics, especially Michigan, on 3, SB Nation. You can follow him on Twitter at Anthony Broom with an E at the end, and he joins us here on X's and Bros. Anthony, appreciate the time. How surprised are you that Dusty May chose to leave after 2 years in Ann Arbor and having a 37-3 record from a year ago?
Yeah, I mean, taking the news for what it was yesterday, it's a 12 out of 10. Like, I don't think it's something any of us saw coming. I did feel like at some point his next stop was going to be the NBA. It didn't strike me as a guy that was going to leave for another college job, but Dusty May is a force multiplier. I mean, you bring that guy into your operation and he is going to, the output relative to, the input that everyone else puts in. He's just kind of a force of nature in that regard. And when you have guys like that, and you have guys who, he's an insatiable competitor, and guys like that, we saw it like with Jim Harbaugh. Like, you want to compete for the biggest prize at the highest possible level. So, taking that for what it is, like, no, I'm not surprised he went to the NBA. I'm surprised that he's going to the NBA after 2 years, coming off a national title. And, I know the reason given is kind of lamenting the state of college sports, but he excelled in this setup and has set the blueprint for what that should look like moving forward. And they put the work in to build next year's roster. So, stunned yesterday, not as surprised that he's going to the NBA, just because that felt like it was going to be something in the cards eventually. But certainly, as you kind of turn, round third base here on the month of June and head into the month of July, that Michigan needs a new coach coming off a national title again, that's just the reality of where we're at right now.
The sole reason may not be the state of college basketball or the state of college athletics, but it's part of the reason. And we can talk about how he excelled in this type of climate. On the other hand, it does wear on you when it's 365 days a year, and you know that. Besides just the grind that is being a college basketball coach these days, or a college coach in general, why else do you think he left? $6 million is a big carrot out there too, right?
Yeah, you would think so. I think that the grind is the biggest part of it. You have to recruit your own roster. You're preparing for NCAA tournament games, and you're hearing from agents of your own players that, other schools are calling, and you got to recruit your own guys. You have to recruit. You're constantly recruiting other players. And even when you get a pledge from someone, nothing is official until the ink is dry. And even then, there's a lot of tomfoolery that can go along with all that. So, the pro option is, you're going to get paid more. You're resourced far better. The calendar for you is a lot more, it's still, it's not a vacation, but, it's a lot more
forgiving,
friendly, time friendly, forgiving. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I feel like it's just a culmination of all of those things. I don't think it's any one thing. I do think when you bring up the rigors of college sports, and everyone immediately goes to NIL and they go to transfer portal and all of those sorts of demands. But I think that something that NBA head coaches also don't need to deal with is red tape at the administration at a school.
Right.
Michigan during the NCAA tournament was busing to its sites. They bused to Buffalo, had to go the long way, 6.5 hours. And no one's going to play the world's smallest violin for them. But, you're busing, you're the University of Michigan, you're busing to NCAA tournament sites. You're taking red-eye flights home. You can't stay an extra night somewhere just to maybe get a healthier travel schedule in there. It's a combination, I think, of all of those things. And, for Dusty, I think it's kind of a perfect situation too, a perfect storm of, hey, when you take these NBA jobs, a lot of times it's a complete rebuild and you're hoping to build something. Well, the Dallas Mavericks, I know there's been drama the last couple of years, but you've got a ready-made superstar, Cooper Flagg. You've got resources to kind of build that out and build something around him. Yeah, it's like I said, it's just a combination of all of those things. But I do think that something that should be taken into consideration when they talk about the state of college sports is some of the other things that I mentioned as well.
It's an excellent point. And quite honestly, I didn't know they were busing to Buffalo, which is outrageous. That's stunning to me. Anthony Broom joining us here on X's and Bros, writing for On3 and SB Nation. You can follow him on Twitter at Anthony Broom. The choice that Michigan has made, and it's the right choice, don't get me wrong. It's almost you had to, in having Mike Boynton now serve as interim head coach. What are they getting there in terms of stability, experience, and keeping a roster together, a better chance of keeping the roster together by using him as the interim head coach for now?
Yeah, certainly it's the best short-term solution. And one that I think makes a lot of sense. To me, this isn't when you just pivoted to Sherrod Moore after Jim Harbaugh left, or this isn't rolling the dice on a guy like Julian Howard after John Beilein left. Like Boynton, I know that the success of the record wasn't what isn't all that impressive at Oklahoma State, but he took over a program from Brad Underwood that was dealing with some sanctions and had some kind of self-inflicted stuff to work through. And make no mistake about it, I think that Mike Boynton having that experience as a head coach and then spending the last 2 years on this staff with a forward-thinking guy like Dusty May, I think you can argue he's probably a better basketball coach today than he was 2 years ago when he took the job. The one thing that remains unclear, and it seems like it is heading this way, where it's just going to be him on the interim for a year and you see what happens. It's still not official, like if that is the case or not. So that's a lot of the reporting. So we'll see what winds up happening there. But, in a time where, Dusty May showed how quickly you can flip a roster and how quickly you can go from a bad situation to a great situation. I don't think taking a 1-year flyer on Mike Boynton is the worst thing in the world. I think that's a perfectly acceptable interim option. I think there's also a scenario in play where, hey, if he keeps most of this roster together, they have a top 5 roster for going into next year. So, there's always a chance that it starts out well and then maybe it tapers off later. Like it's going to be interesting to see, because there's a path where he's the interim guy. They have a very good season next year, and then you're like, oh, well, that's just your head coach. And then, but there's just so much more that goes into that now, especially with things changing so quickly in college sports. So I like Mike Boynton. I think I wouldn't call it an inspired choice to immediately pivot to that. I think he's perfectly acceptable. I think he's up for it. I think he can do the job. But make no mistake about it. Like this is still a pretty curious situation they find themselves in. And I think if they roll the dice on it, they could, I don't know what's going to happen, but maybe you just pivot to next year and run a full coaching search when you have the ability to do so.
Yeah, in the words of the Alan Parsons Project, where do you go from here? If you're Michigan, if you're Ward Manuel, and you've lost a number of coaches who have won national titles or at least had their team in contention for national titles, where do you go from here?
I think a question that leadership at Michigan needs to ask itself is, first I'll say this, any of the, you lost John Beilein and Eric Bakich and Jim Harbaugh and Dusty May. Like, I get all that. In a vacuum, all of those decisions and the reasons they happen make sense. And I know it's a different era now, but I think a question that Michigan and its leadership need to ask themselves is why do exceptional people not want to stay here? Because that has been an issue. And, as it pertains to Ward Manuel, and I know it's such it can be kind of a low-hanging fruit thing that anytime something bad happens to Michigan, everyone points at the AD, but this is kind of his legacy now with national championship coaches walking out the door, the year or weeks or months after they win their title. I think maybe the two best basketball coaches you've ever had leaving under his watch. And that's without even bringing up the controversies, the scandals, the fires that have had to be put out.
Sure. The hockey one. I mean, Mel Pearson was a really good hockey coach. How do you not know what's going on there and the unfortunate behavior that was taking place? That's a black mark.
There are black. Yeah, you could. If you wanted to have either side of the day, they can overlook the scandal because of the athletic success. Well, why can't Michigan sustain any of this? Why do they burn so bright and then taper off? It seems like you don't trade the national titles for anything in the world. I think that is that's obviously a mark in his favor, but it's just been so much for so long. And why don't I think the biggest question I have is, have these coaches that have left knowing that you put your best foot forward in trying to retain them? And I think that answer across the board, the through line is probably not. And that's a problem.
Anthony Broom does a great job covering Michigan athletics for the Wolverine.com for On3 for SB Nation. Yesterday, you wrote, after talking with Trey McKinney, that he was surprised, but he's going to stay. How vital was that, and how much can that permeate throughout that locker room, do you think, that guys are going to stay?
I mean, it's huge. And he's a guy, I think, pretty clear, like, Big Ten Player of the Year type of jump I think he has in his bag to make next year. So, he's kind of the face of your program in this next iteration. Homegrown guy, Michigan fan. He just down the road from Flint. I think there's a lot of pride there, and that was evident. We were at an event with him last night. It seems like in the early going that he and Elliot Cadeau are trying to rally the troops and keep this thing together. I tend to think that they will be successful in keeping this thing together for the most part. I know there are some hurt feelings and ruffled feathers and some uncertainty from some players about what comes next. I think anytime you have a transition like this, attrition is always well within the range of outcomes. So I don't know what that looks like. I don't know where certain guys are at yet, but to have, it seems like your two biggest pieces for next year's team still with 10 toes down and looking to see what happens next and keep this thing rolling, because they do, like I said before, they do have a top 5 roster and national title aspirations. I think that's a great place to start. We've heard the right things so far, but again, whenever a coach is officially named, there's going to be a 5-day cooling off period, and then the transfer portal will open for 15 days, which will go into July, which is not ideal for anyone. But I also tend to think that there might not be as many poaching attempts, given that a lot of these schools have their rosters set and their budgets are set for next year. But it's also a wholly unique situation, too. So there's a lot of work to do, and they have to move fast to do it.
What's the alternative for Michigan if they lose some of their players on their roster? How do they deal with that?
I think maybe it would depend on how many guys you lose. I think at this point, you'd be taking flyers on guys to fill out, or maybe, again, it's going to depend on the numbers. I can see a scenario where maybe a guy or two drops off and you roll with what you have and then regroup for next year. But, if there's any sort of exodus, and I would say that being three or four or more guys, I don't know where that's going to come from right now, because there's not, there are guys that are still technically in the transfer portal, but only your guys can enter. No one else's guys can enter. So you're either taking flyers on high school guys who haven't found a home yet, or international guys who haven't found a home yet. It becomes a little more of an uphill climb if you lose a chunk of your roster.
Lastly, you had mentioned Ward Manuel earlier. How much do you think this does reflect on him? Because John Beilein left for the NBA. I'm sure the NCAA situation had something to do with it. But he left for, quote unquote, greener pastures. Hard to turn down that money. Jim Harbaugh always wanted to go back to the NFL. He could have said he didn't, but everybody knew that he wanted to go back to the NFL. Jumping to the NBA, it's not like they're leaving Michigan for another school, except for Eric Bakich. Right. That I think was a financial thing and a commitment thing. How does this reflect on Ward Manuel, and how secure should he be in the position he holds now?
Well, I'll start with your second question. I think pretty secure, and that was even without Michigan having a lot of administrative questions. Like, they don't have a school president right now. You know, there will be some changes coming to the Board of Regents, you know, when elections take place. So I think from that perspective, pretty safe. Now, there are two ways you can look at it. One is the point that I brought up earlier that, you know, why don't exceptional people want to stick around? But the flip side of that, well, maybe he's hiring too well, and he's hiring coaches that the pros want. And like I said before, to me, it just comes back to I know for a fact with a couple of these, I don't feel like some of these coaches are leaving knowing that they would be fully supported or get exactly what they need if they stay. I don't think a best foot forward has consistently been put up on that front. And there's it's been a slow moving legal department in getting contracts done too. I think people just want certainty, and this has been an administration that is typically slow moving and not very fast to adapt. And the pros, they don't work on that timeline. Are you coming or are you not? And they can't wait. They can't wait for certainty. So, listen, there have been a lot of great things that have been done. There have been a lot of dark marks, but again, and maybe it's just the realization that in this current era, being in a place like Michigan isn't a destination spot anymore. It's been a stepping stone for some of these elite people, and you wouldn't trade some of those wins and the trophies for anything. But it sure as heck makes it hard to sustain it, and a lot of questions in between those eras.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, we've always thought that about sports in general. Who wouldn't want to play for an original 16? And yet, for some reason, they can't seem to get them. Why wouldn't you want to play for a team that was an original charter member of the American League? It just doesn't resonate with people, and perhaps that's where they're headed as well. I will say this. It's interesting. The NCAA, there's so many things you and I could talk about how it needs to be fixed, because they want to limit the portal for kids, but for some reason that portal seems to be wide open for coaches 365 days a year. Really appreciate the conversation. Great stuff as always. You do a wonderful job. We thank you for all your hard work, and thanks for coming on this morning.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
You bet. That's Anthony Broom from thewolverine.com and from On3 and SB Nation. We're back with you tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock. Don't forget the huge show later on today. Always good stuff. Have a great Tullymore Tuesday, everybody.
In the Den. It's a new day to celebrate and be free. It's a new day full of action and excitement, because it's a new day for winning. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, your getaway reimagined. This is Matt Shepard. The Tigers' winning streak has reached 4 in a row now. Their 5-3 win over Garrett Cole and the Yankees perhaps was as impressive as any win they've had this month. They roughed up Cole for 9 hits and 5 runs, chasing him after 4 1/3 innings. Meanwhile, Framber Valdez battled through some early control issues, allowing just a run and 4 hits while punching out 8 Yankees in 6 innings. After going 6-22 in the month of May and dropping 16 games under 500 on May 31st and 11.5 games out of first, the Tigers are now an MLB best 12-6 in June and within 7 games of striking distance in the Central Division. It's a tale of 2 months for them, and perhaps a totally different perspective.
Celebrate the soul of folk and Americana. The Lumineers Automatic World Tour comes to Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort Sunday night, July 19th, with special guest Josiah and the Bonnevilles, part of the Soaring Eagle Outdoor Summer Concert Series. Tickets start at $67 and are on sale now at the box office or online at etix.com. Showtime 8 p.m. See the Lumineers live with Josiah and the Bonnevilles, July 19th at Soaring Eagle Casino, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
You know, we're fortunate here in Michigan. We have some of the greatest golf courses in the country. Tullymore and St. Ives is part of the reason we can brag the way we do about our golf. Once you visit Tullymore, you'll keep coming back. The view is breathtaking. The golf is fantastic. The accommodations are regal, and the people are special. It really does feel like a home away from home at Tullymore. Make your play and stay reservations today by going to Tullymore.